It's been a long, long time coming, and I know change gon' come. Hey y'all, welcome back to Kooks. It's your girl Keisha Michelle. Today, you guys, listen, I can't explain. It's been a long year, guys. I'm not even going to get into that in this video, but what I am going to get into is I am going to be trying to answer some of you guys' questions, some of the most asked questions that I get in my comment section during my videos. I want to answer those questions. I want to be 100% clear, okay? So if you're here for this video, you guys, I want you to leave me a like, a comment, and make sure you're subscribed. Turn those notifications on, okay? So let's get into it. I know that most of you guys are here for the grapes, so just know that anything that I say about the grapes, it can be applied to any candied fruit. So for starters, you want to make sure you have a candy thermometer, you guys. It is so important. Along with a heavy-duty pot, you want to make sure that your candy is cooking at a consistent speed and temperature throughout its cooking process. You want the candy thermometer to reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see here on my candy thermometer, it did go a little above 300 degrees, but that is okay as long as it doesn't reach to the 320 era. Your candy will not taste burnt. This is what your candy will look like when it is ready to be removed from the heat. For any candy that I make, I usually do the 4-3-1 method. That is 4 cups of sugar, 3 cups of water, and 1 cup of K-Row. You can also do for larger batches, 6 cups of sugar, 4 cups of water, and 1 cup of K-Row. Also, with my grapes, I like to wrap my grapes in fruit roll-up. That is an optional thing to do with your candied grapes. I personally believe, in my experience, that wrapping them in the fruit roll-up will extend its shelf life just by a strand of hair. However, I will say that wrapping grapes in fruit roll-up is a little time consuming, but where I am currently within treat making, I am very used to it. I do a lot of vending events where I have to make a lot of containers of grapes, so my speed has really increased over the years. But it is a very doable option if that's something that you want to do. I will say that I feel like the fruit roll-ups definitely enhance the flavors of your grapes, and it kind of gives that wow factor to customers. You don't really see a lot of treat makers doing it, but yeah, if you have the time, I say do it. No, you do not have to freeze your grapes before dipping. I would highly recommend against that, actually, because the extra moisture from the condensation from freezing your grapes alone will literally mess up the consistency of your candy mixture, and your candy grapes will break down 10 times faster than if you do it at room temperature. Your grapes need to be at room temperature before dipping, okay? So as far as the food coloring that I use, I like to use Hobby Lobby's gel food coloring. It's very vibrant. Some people like to use, I forget the name of it, but it's one that you can find on Amazon. I'll be sure to link that down. I'm pretty sure that's the best brand. However, if you are like in the nick of time and you need something to grab real quick, I usually go to Hobby Lobby. That's my go-to. It's the best. And I also use the Wilton white icing color. You can find that usually have to go to, it's a fabric store, you guys. What is the name of it? I'll be sure to put it on the screen so that you guys will be able to reference it. But needless to say, you can also find it on Amazon. I'll be sure to leave that in the description box as well, so that you can quickly just head over there and purchase it. The amount of food coloring that you need to use really just depends on the color that you're trying to achieve. However, I will say that if you use too much of either one of these food colors, the gel or the icing color, it can also put a bad texture on your candy mixture, and it may even cause it to seize. And what that means is basically the sugar begins to granulate while you're like trying to dip, and it's a terrible mess. Just listen, start with a few drops of each, and see if it's as vibrant as you need it. Add a little bit at a time. Don't go overboard. Trust me, you'll thank me later. You also want to make sure that you mix it very well, unless you're trying to do like a marble effect. When you want to do the marble effect, you need to like just add the drops and then swivel it around just a few times, and you'll see the little lines and streaks and stuff. And when you dip your treats, it'll create this like really fun thing. Okay, don't do what I did there with all that white, because I mean that was obviously too much. But as you can see, you'll begin to see the color become less translucent. And yeah, dip your treats, love. This particular pink turned out so perfect, but I'm pretty sure I was like one drop away from making my candy seize. The more you add, the thicker your candy will be. You want your candy to be like liquid when you're dipping, okay? A lot of people are wanting to know how in the world can they reheat their candy as it begins to thicken while you're dipping. That is like the worst thing ever, you guys. I used to throw my candy out whenever it would get thick like that. I thought that was it, but it's not it. Don't write it off just yet. If you would like to reheat your candy while you're in the midst of dipping, all you have to do is place it back onto your heat source and put it on medium heat. And you want to watch it. Be careful. Don't burn it while you're reheating it. It is very possible to step away for a few minutes and forget that your candy is reheating. So, trust me, I've done it. As you are reheating your candy mixture, you will see that it is starting to boil. But at this stage, it's not quite there yet. Trust the process. Allow it to continue to reheat. As you can see, the candy mixture is now loose. It's no longer thick and gunky. This is the perfect consistency that insinuates that you're ready to continue dipping your fruit. I've had a few people ask me how I get my Jolly Ranchers crushed down so perfectly. And I simply put them into a blender where I blend until I get the desired consistency of my Jolly Rancher crumbles. If you only blend for a few seconds, your Jolly Ranchers will come out clumpy and chunky. I do not like that. No one wants to have a mouthful of Jolly Ranchers while eating candied grapes. It will make it hard to eat. So yeah, you want to make sure that you blend it for an appropriate amount of time to get that fine powdery consistency. Also, when you are storing your Jolly Ranchers, you want to make sure that you store them in a Ziploc. I like to use the freezer Ziploc bags because it makes it easier to move around and your Jolly Ranchers won't be so stuck together. Like if you leave your Jolly Ranchers uncovered, your Jolly Ranchers will be super stiff and hard to coat your fruit with by the time your candy mixture is done boiling. This is a big one. Cleaning the pot after you have dipped all of your fruit and you're done with the candy. You can either save your candy or you can just discard of the candy mixture. So I'm going to show you how I have done it, you guys. I have made a video talking about this before, but it's like the longer I've been doing treats, the more things I learn about the processes of making these different things. And I learn better ways of doing things simply. So instead of putting water inside the pot and returning it back to the heat and letting it just boil down and dissolve, what I do is I simply put the pot on the heat, bring it back to a boil. I get a bowl and I line the bowl with parchment paper. And once the candy begins to boil, I will simply just pour the candy into the bowl with the parchment paper. You want to make sure that it's a heat safe bowl so that it won't explode or anything on you. But what this does is it allows the candy to catch onto the parchment paper, and it's honestly just less mess. And this will eventually dry. So if you're wanting to save your candy mixture, you want to make sure that you bring it back to a safe boil where you're not burning your candy, But in my case, I didn't necessarily want to save this candy. I just wanted to make sure that I get my pot clean. And so once I poured that mixture into the bowl, I then place my pot under some hot water in the sink, and that hot water is going to dissolve the remaining candy mixture, and voila, you have a clean pot. This doesn't take more than 5 minutes top to get that remaining candy mixture from around the rims. A lot of people think that they have to throw their pot away after making candy, but like, you necessarily don't. You really just have to have that patience and that willingness to do what you got to do to get your stuff clean. And just like that, look at that. The pot is clean. You can't even tell that candy was in it before. As previously stated, you can, as I said before, you can save your candy. So what you want to do is simply keep your candy wrapped in this parchment paper. Just wrap it up in the parchment paper. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you remove it from the parchment paper. It's not sticky paper on it or anything, but what you want to do is wrap it up in that parchment paper really well. And you want to put it in like a Ziploc bag to store your candy for whenever you want to use the candy again. And I also have a video talking about reheating your candy from its hard stage. I will be sure to link that video in my description box so that you can check that out. It's very doable. Like I said, you just have to have patience. And as you can see, I was able to walk away with a clean bowl. I didn't have candy all in that bowl stuck to the bottom of it or anything. My pot is clean. Less mess equals less stress, and we're here for it in 2024. Another frequent question that I receive is, how long can candied grapes last? So usually I like to sell my grapes same day, but if I'm doing vending events, I will make them a few days prior or the day before and store them in the freezer. And what I have realized is that candied grapes do not last very long in the refrigerator, but they do last up to a week in the freezer. And I also made a video talking about this where I show actual footage of keeping them in the refrigerator and keeping them in the freezer. So I'll be sure to link that video down below in the comments or in the description box. And you guys, I really hope that you have gained some form of value from this video. If you have any further questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I will try my hardest to respond and or make a video answering your questions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.